So you may have heard a lot of people say you have to shoot in RAW or you have to shoot in JPEG. But what does that mean? You know, do you know what RAW and JPEG means? Today we're going to look at just that, what they are and why you should use them. Hi guys, Mandy here from the Photographer Blog, bringing you photography tips to help you take better photos. And today we're going to be looking at RAW and JPEG file formats. What are they, what do they mean, and which one should you be shooting with? So let's get into it. So when it comes to cameras, back in the day when you had film cameras, you exposed the camera to take the image and it basically let the light through and went on to photosensitive film. That film was then turned into a negative and you produced your prints and your images and your photos from that negative. So back in the older days, that's how it worked. When things changed to digital, then basically instead of it having a photosensitive film and producing a negative, a sensor behind the camera and a processor gives you a file format. And that's the negative that you have, that you produce your prints from. Now there's two types. There is RAW, a RAW file format, and there is a JPEG file format. Are you loving the really expensive video aids here? Wonderful, aren't they? So let's get into what each one means and why you should be using them. So first off, RAW files. Love my visual aids. What is a RAW file? Basically, what a RAW file is what they call a digital negative. And what that means is that it holds all of the information that the camera captured. It's not compressed in any way, it's completely and utterly an uncompressed file. Why do you want that? Well, you want that because it's got more colour information, it's got more sharpness, it's got more detail. It's just got more in it than what a JPEG will have in it, and I'll explain that a little bit more in a moment. But what that means in real terms is that RAW files tend to be larger files, and they do need post-processing in some software, but they're worth it basically because of what you can create from them. Because they've got all the information there. If you've made any errors, if you've knocked any dials or got the wrong exposure, gone out with the camera set to the wrong white balance, it doesn't matter because you can make those changes and recover them and fix it with a RAW file. You can't with a JPEG, but you can with a RAW file. So so that's basically what a RAW file is. From my point of view, I would say I would shoot in RAW. It gives you the most flexibility, it gives you the most creativity, and it captures absolutely everything. So it leaves it completely and utterly uncompressed, and then you can make what you want of that image. So I like post-processing, I like getting the RAW file, and I like finishing it off. It's like a painter finishing off a painting to me. It's just, I like being able to finish it off how I saw it in my mind or with my eye, that may be different to the cold, hard facts that the camera's created. So I like post-processing, so that's not an issue for me. It may be for you, but my recommendation would be to shoot in RAW, and the reason for that is that it's non-destructive, the editing that you do in post-processing software. So what that means is that it doesn't affect the file, the RAW file itself. You can keep that file for years to come, and you can keep going back to it, and you can pull something different out each time. And that's the creativity for me. And it won't wreck the file will always be there, all of that great information will always be there, and then you can just do what you want with it each time depending on your mood basically. So for me, I'd say shoot in RAW. Okay, so getting on to the next file format, bringing my lovely visual aids again, we have the JPEG file format. What is it and what does that mean? So basically, JPEG is the most commonly used camera file format whenever you take a picture, whether it's in a mobile phone or whether it's in a DSLR, whatever type of camera it is. Generally, they produce JPEG photos. They are quick and easy to use because they are there straight away to view and to use and put wherever. The con to that is, what a JPEG file is a compressed file. the camera's taken the photo and it's compressed it, and it's done a certain amount of editing to it, what it feels should be done to that photo. So it's compressed it, it's added a little bit of oomph to it, and it comes out with a JPEG file. So yeah, you can use it straight away, you can send it up to social media, you can send it to somebody, you can print it off straight away without having to put it into any software, but you lose information in doing that. The raw file, or what the camera took, has been converted and compressed by the camera and spat out the other end. So any errors you've made, any wrong settings or anything like that, if you pick the wrong white balance or it's under it overexposed, you can't make the same corrections that you can make with the raw file. So you're a little bit stuck with what you can do. JPEGs have got a lot better since I started using them, and you know, you can take a JPEG and you can edit it in post-processing software, no problem. And they do come out and they look really good. They look a lot better than what they used to, but you can do so much more with the raw file than you can with just a JPEG, because it's had that compression done to it and it's lost that data. And then every time you make an edit, if you straighten it or you crop it or anything like that, and then you save it again, each time you save a JPEG, you're losing a little bit of information. You're losing a little bit of quality. So that's really the pros and cons to JPEGs, and although they are instant and they are easy to use and easy to share, they do have that con where basically they've already been compressed, the camera's already done what it feels it should do to them, so they are ready to use. But is that what you want? Is that how you wanted, you know, the camera to do that photo? And then obviously there's the loss issue where you are losing quality, you're losing data from that file being compressed. They are smaller files because they have been compressed. Obviously that's made them a smaller file, so they're easy to store, they don't take up as much space. If you've got a memory card and you're shooting with JPEG, you can take a ton more photos than you can if you've got it set to RAW. So it's a bit of swings and roundabouts. If obviously if I've got it on my mobile phone, then I don't have that RAW issue, so I just shoot in JPEG. But if you've got a camera that's capable of shooting RAW and JPEG, then I would choose RAW over JPEG any day. And that's just my workflow, it's how I do it, it's what I do with my photos. You'll be different, but that would be my advice, that would be my suggestion. Give it a go and see what you think. Speaking of that, there is an option. Obviously when you go into your camera, you go into your menu and you pick quality, it will have, it probably will have S and M and L, and it will have all different funny little images next to it for some strange reason. It's supposed to denote the quality. And then it'll have RAW, and then it'll have RAW plus JPEG. Now they're generally what the camera offers, and you pick one of those to shoot. Now if you are going to shoot in JPEG, always pick the highest quality that you can. It'll have L next to it, and it may have some numbers and a funny little icon thing. Always pick the largest setting you can for the JPEG. If you're going to shoot RAW, then obviously you just move over to where it says RAW and you click on that. And then if you're not sure, if you don't have post-processing software yet, for instance, and you want to still try it out in the future, then why not shoot RAW and JPEG? And what that does is the camera will then save a RAW file for each photo, and it will save a JPEG file for each photo together. So you get two files for each photo that you take. The JPEG you can use straight away, you can do whatever with. The RAW files, you can always save them to the cloud or on a hard drive or something for the future when you may have post-processing software, and you can have a play about with the RAWs. So why not start from day one, shooting RAW, but still being able to use those JPEGs, and then in the future you can go back, revisit those photos and see what you've learned and how you do it differently in the future. So personally I'd say shoot in RAW, just to recap. You don't have to. If you want to shoot in JPEG, you absolutely can, but if you're looking for a certain compromise, I'd suggest shooting in RAW plus JPEG. Use your JPEG straight away and save your RAWs for later. or even if you have got post-processing software, then save your RAWs and just have a little go with them, have a play about with them. You've still got the JPEGs, they're ready to use straight away, and it's all good fun. It's a learning curve. So there you go, that's a rough guide to what RAW is and what JPEG is, and basically which one to use and why you would use them. So personally, I'd say go for RAW. I don't think you'll regret it, and if you're not sure, shoot RAW and JPEG, and you've always got them for the future, and you can go back and try something new with them. So that's it for today. I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any questions, anything like that, just pop them in the comments below and I'll answer them there for you. If you've liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that, and if you haven't already, then think about subscribing and you will never miss another one. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!